This is a True Crime in Real Time update from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
On January 15th, 2025, Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor will face a disciplinary hearing that could mark the end of his career. The hearing follows a cascade of controversies involving Proctor's investigative conduct in several high-profile cases, each raising serious questions about the integrity of law enforcement practices in Massachusetts. From the Karen Red murder trial to the disturbing death of Sandra Birchmore, Proctor's involvement has been marred by allegations of misconduct, mishandled evidence, and professional impropriety. As the public watches closely, the hearing promises to be a pivotal moment for the Massachusetts State Police. In January 2022, Karen Red was accused of killing her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, by allegedly backing her SUV into him during a snowstorm. Trooper Michael Proctor was assigned as the lead investigator in the case, a role that would later become a focal point of controversy. During the trial, Proctor's conduct came under fire when defense attorneys revealed unprofessional and derogatory text messages he had sent regarding Reed. In one particularly damning message, Proctor expressed hope that Reed would harm herself, a sentiment he later admitted to under cross-examination. The defense alleged that Proctor's investigative methods were not only biased but also aimed at confirming Red's guilt rather than pursuing an impartial search for the truth. Questions were raised about the handling of physical evidence, including the broken taillight from Reed's SUV and the analysis of O'Keefe's injuries. In July 2024, the case ended in a mistrial, further eroding public confidence in the investigation. Red's retrial is now scheduled for April 2025, but the shadow of Proctor's alleged misconduct continues to loom large. Proctor's troubles did not end with the Karen Red case. In early 2023, he was assigned as the lead investigator in another high-profile case, the murder of Anna Walshy. Her husband, Brian Walshy, was accused of killing and dismembering her in one of the most shocking domestic violence cases in recent memory. Despite the gravity of the allegations, prosecutors announced in September 2024 that Proctor would not be called to testify during Walsh's trial. The decision was widely interpreted as an acknowledgement of the credibility issues stemming from Proctor's prior conduct in the Red case. Defense attorneys in the Walshy case seized upon Proctor's tarnished reputation, questioning whether his investigative methods could be trusted. While the details of his involvement remain limited, due to the decision to sideline him as a witness, the controversy surrounding Proctor has undoubtedly impacted public perception of the case, which is set to go to trial later in 2025. Proctor's involvement in other cases has also come under scrutiny. In the case of Miles King, accused of killing Marquise Simmons in Milton in 2021, defense attorneys expressed concerns about Proctor's role in the investigation. Similar concerns arose in the case of Sean Johnson, who faces murder charges related to a deadly shooting outside a Randolph Country Club on July 4, 2022. In both instances, defense teams highlighted Proctor's alleged misconduct in the Red and Walshy cases as a basis for questioning the integrity of the investigations. Perhaps the most harrowing of all is the case of Sandra Birchmore, a 23-year-old woman whose death was initially ruled a suicide. Birchmore was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment in February 2021. The initial investigation by local authorities concluded that she had taken her own life, but federal investigators later determined that her death was a homicide. Former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell was indicted in August 2024 for Birchmore's murder. Farwell, who allegedly groomed Birchmore from the time she was a teenager, was accused of maintaining a years-long inappropriate relationship with her. When Birchmore became pregnant, Farwell allegedly staged her death to appear as a suicide, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the community. While Proctor was not directly involved in the Birchmore investigation, the case has drawn parallels to others he handled, particularly in the context of law enforcement misconduct. The Birchmore tragedy underscores systemic failures within Massachusetts law enforcement agencies and has intensified calls for comprehensive reforms. The upcoming disciplinary hearing for Michael Proctor is more than just a review of one officer's conduct. It is a litmus test for the Massachusetts State Police's commitment to accountability and reform. Proctor's suspension without pay since July 2024, following an internal affairs investigation, has already signaled the department's willingness to address serious allegations. However, public trust in the force remains precarious. The Massachusetts State Police have stated that the trial board's recommendations will be reviewed by the superintendent, who will determine the final outcome. This process is being closely watched by advocacy groups, legal experts, and the families of those affected by the cases Proctor investigated. The results of the hearing could have far-reaching implications, not only for Proctor's career, but also for the integrity of the Massachusetts State Police as a whole. The media has extensively covered the controversies surrounding Proctor, painting a picture of a deeply troubled investigator whose alleged misconduct has jeopardized multiple cases. Public response has been equally intense, with many calling for greater transparency and accountability in law enforcement. Advocacy groups have emphasized the need for systemic reforms, including improved oversight mechanisms and stricter standards for investigative practices. The cases involving Karen Redd, Brian Walshy, and Sandra Birchmore have become rallying points for those demanding justice and institutional change. As public pressure mounts, the Massachusetts State Police face a critical juncture. Will they take decisive action to restore trust, or will they allow the shadow of these controversies to linger? The disciplinary hearing on January 15, 2025 is expected to be a watershed moment. Whether Michael Proctor faces permanent disciplinary action or is allowed to continue his career will depend on the findings of the trial board and the superintendent's decision. Meanwhile, the Karen Redd retrial, the Brian Walshy trial, and the legal proceedings in the Sandra Birchmore case will continue to unfold, each carrying the weight of Proctor's controversial legacy. As Massachusetts grapples with these complex and emotionally charged cases, one thing is clear: the pursuit of justice demands more than just individual accountability. It requires a commitment to systemic change, ensuring that tragedies like those of Sandra Birchmore and John O'Keefe are never repeated.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface,
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
where hidden killers roam unnoticed in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Bruschi as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.